There's a particular kind of quiet that settles over a home in the deep hours of the night. It's not just the absence of sound, but a stillness that feels like the world outside has pressed pause. And in that stillness, for me, the most profound and unsettling revelations always seem to arrive, often heralded by a small furry creature named Luna. Luna wasn't just any cat. I found her huddled beneath a dripping dumpster during a late autumn rain, a tiny, bedraggled creature with one ear torn almost in half and a tail that ended abruptly as if it had been snapped off clean. She was a survivor, tough and wary, but beneath the scars, her eyes held an astonishing depth. Bringing her home was less an act of charity and more a mutual understanding, a quiet pact made in the pouring rain. For weeks, Luna was a shadow, darting from under the sofa to behind the curtains, but slowly, tentatively, she began to unfurl. Her purr, initially a hesitant rumble, grew into a full-throated vibration against my chest. Her paws, once hesitant, began to knead my old blanket with fierce devotion. She became my constant companion, a soft weight on my lap, a quiet presence in every room. She was, in every sense, family. But there was always something else about Luna. It started subtly, a peculiar habit I initially dismissed as typical cat eccentricity. She would, often in the quietest moments of the evening, stare, not at a fly on the wall or a dust mote dancing in a sunbeam, but into empty corners. Her gaze would lock onto a patch of seemingly innocuous wall, her body tensing, her whiskers twitching, as if deciphering an invisible text. And sometimes a low, guttural hiss would escape her, directed at nothing, at empty air. I'd laugh it off at first. "Just chasing ghost mice, are we, Luna?" I'd say, reaching out to stroke her soft fur. But the persistence of it, the intensity, began to wear at me. The hiss wasn't playful. It was a sound of genuine fear, or perhaps anger. Her eyes, usually a soft green, would darken, narrowed to slits of obsidian. She seemed to see things I couldn't, to react to presences that simply weren't there. I tried to rationalize it. Residual trauma from her time on the streets, perhaps? Or maybe, I mused, she was just a particularly sensitive cat, attuned to the subtle shifts in air currents or stray electrical hums that my human senses couldn't detect. Yet, a subtle chill began to permeate my evenings. The apartment, once my sanctuary, started to feel occupied. I'd find myself looking over my shoulder, listening to the creaks of the old building with a new, unsettling awareness. Was I just imagining things, or was Luna's unseen adversary slowly making itself known to me, even if only as a faint shadow at the edge of my perception? The incidents grew more frequently. Luna would wake from a deep sleep, fur bristling, and fix her gaze on the ceiling above my bed, a low growl rumbling in her throat. She'd bat at the air as if fighting off an invisible assailant, her claws extended, her usually gentle purr replaced by a series of frantic, desperate meows. It was less like a cat playing and more like a cat warning. One particularly cold night, the temperature in the room seemed to plummet, even though the heating was on full. I was reading in bed, Luna curled at my feet, when she suddenly sprang up. Her back arched, her fur stood on end, and her missing tail, what little was left of it, twitched violently. She wasn't just staring into a corner this time. Her head was tilted upwards, her eyes wide with what seemed to be sheer terror, fixed on a specific point directly above me, where the wall met the ceiling. A deep, trembling hiss tore from her throat, a sound I'd never heard from her before, raw, primal, and laced with a profound, urgent despair. It wasn't the usual ghost mice hiss. This was a warning, a desperate plea. Her gaze was unblinking, unwavering, locked on to that single spot. A strange, icy dread began to creep up my spine. My heart hammered against my ribs, not from fear, but from a sudden, overwhelming sense of recognition. It was as if a part of my mind, long dormant, was suddenly flickering to life, struggling to piece together a fragmented memory. I felt an irresistible pull, a morbid curiosity that transcended my rational mind. Slowly, reluctantly, I raised my head, my eyes following Luna's unyielding gaze. And there it was, not a shadow, not an optical illusion, but a body, my body, hanging from a thick rope tied to the exposed beam in the ceiling, swaying ever so slightly in an imperceptible draft. The face was contorted, blue, but unmistakably mine. The familiar t-shirt I'd worn that day, the old jeans, it was all there, vivid and terrifyingly real, yet utterly impossible. A gasp caught in my throat, but no sound escaped. My mind reeled, trying to reconcile the image with the undeniable reality of my own living, breathing body lying in bed. How could I be here and yet there? Luna, meanwhile, had stopped hissing. She slowly lowered her arched back, her eyes still fixed on the ghostly apparition. Then, with a soft purr, she walked to the edge of the bed, looked at me, a profound sadness in her green eyes, and then back at the hanging figure. It was as if she was saying, "There, you see it now, don't you? I've been trying to tell you." For weeks, Luna, or rather my continued existence, took on a profoundly different texture after that night. The apartment remained my home, and Luna my steadfast companion. I still exist, a silent observer in the space I once called my own. The bond with Luna is even deeper now, forged in the crucible of shared, unspoken knowledge. She's the only one who truly sees me, the only one who acknowledges my presence. And sometimes, when she curls up on the empty space where my chest used to be, I can almost feel the gentle vibration of her purr, a quiet comfort in the vast, echoing silence of my new reality. She saved me, in a way, not from death, but from a terrifying, unconscious purgatory. She showed me the truth, however horrifying, and in doing so, allowed me to finally begin to understand. It's a strange thing, isn't it? How truth can manifest in the most unexpected ways, through the most humble of messengers. Sometimes the creatures we welcome into our lives see far more than we do, sensing the unseen threads that connect our reality to something deeper, something beyond our immediate grasp. Have you ever encountered a moment, a creature, an object that seemed to hold a secret, a profound truth waiting to be revealed? I'd love to hear your thoughts, your experiences, and your reflections on this story. Please feel free to share them in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, consider subscribing or following for more tales that explore the gentle mysteries that unfold around us, if only we are open enough to see. Thank you for listening.